Hey there guys, it's Tina and I'm back. And I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe. If you're also back, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me again. I'm so glad to see your face. But if you're new and maybe you like what you see, please consider subscribing because we have tons of fun here on this channel talking about makeup and all things beauty. And I do get into tons of makeup swatches and review videos. And I also like to try out new products in Get Ready With Me videos. So we mix it up here on this channel. And today I have a foundation review. I am going to be reviewing the SurrealSkin foundation from Makeup by Mario. That is not new to the scene anymore, but I like to do full comprehensive reviews. So I am not a first impressions kind of person. I like to really test the makeup out before I give you my thoughts. So if you want to hear my thoughts, see a demonstration and a wear test for this foundation, then stay tuned and let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and jump into the product details and the demonstration for this foundation. So like I mentioned, this is the Makeup by Mario SurrealSkin foundation. It retails for $42 and is available in 30 different shades with varying undertones. So it says here, Mario's foundation reveals skin's natural luminosity. Featuring MoistureGrip technology, the foundation hydrates skin for 12 hours and glides on easily for customizable coverage. Layer it on or share it out. The buildable formula works harmoniously with powders and creams to create Mario's signature techniques while staying true to its original color. A breathable, luminous foundation that effortlessly builds and blends to illuminate the complexion with customizable, long-wearing coverage. There are some highlighted ingredients here that I will talk about. So we have grapeseed oil and vegetal squalene, which provide restoring, moisturizing benefits, and perfecting powders that works with skin's natural texture for smooth and enhanced finish. I'm also interested in the other ingredients that are included because this formulation looks a little bit different in the bottle than any other foundation I've seen. So we have water as the main ingredient. The third ingredient is coconut alkanes, which is a derivative of the fatty acids from coconut oil. We also have caprylyl methicone, which is a dimethicone ingredient. These are meant to be the emollients and solvents in the formula. They will mix with the pigments to give you that beautiful glide. We also have glycerin, which is a great moisturizing and hydrating ingredient. Dimethicone is mentioned, another slippy ingredient. Silica will help to blur the skin and absorb oil. The grapeseed oil that they mentioned, as well as squalene and sunflower seed oil. And those are further down in the ingredient list. But then the key thing I was looking for is mentioned in the may contain. So this is in a lower concentration. It says it may contain titanium dioxide, mica, and iron oxides. And I was looking for mica specifically because I wanted to figure out what was giving it that sparkly effect in the bottle. This foundation looks like it contains glitter or shimmer. It's very fine, so it's like micro fine shimmer, but it's there and I can see it in the bottle, and in heavy swatches you can also see it. And if you really look up close when you apply this to your skin, you can still see the shimmer. So I am a little bit wary because that is not something that I am necessarily looking forward to. Listen, I don't want to look like one of the Cullens when I step outside in the sun, especially given that I have oily skin. I'm not trying to shine, okay? I'm not trying to glisten. No, okay? I don't want any parts of it. I prefer a foundation that has moisturizing, hydrating ingredients that's going to give that hydrated look to my skin rather than add in shimmer to give the glow. So it's really like I'm glowing from up yonder rather than from within. It's just a whole situation. So the foundation comes in the signature black packaging from Makeup by Mario with all the ingredients, size, and details. And it mentions that this is made in the USA and it is cruelty-free and has an intended usage life of 12 months, which is typical for liquid and cream products. The foundation bottles are cylindrical, so they're round all around, and they have a white cap included, which is signature Makeup by Mario. The pump is a silver accent, so you you'll see the lip of the pump right under the cap. On the bottom, we have a white label with the product information, shade number, sizing, and manufacturing details. And you have the Makeup by Mario logo on the side of the packaging. Really sleek, really beautiful glass packaging. I do like the aesthetic of Makeup by Mario. It is very clean and sleek. It's a minimalist type packaging, and I do appreciate it, but there's no frills. There's nothing luxurious about the packaging. It's just minimalist and functional. Now I need you guys to see the shimmer in this foundation. I hope you can see it under this lighting. You can definitely see the glow to this foundation. It is not subtle at all. It is very obvious that there is shimmer in this foundation. And I went ahead and picked up 2 shades of the foundation. I have 17N and 20N. There are 3 different undertones available throughout the skin tone range. So we have neutral undertones, cool undertones, and pinky undertones. There are also a couple of shades that mention a mix of olive tones. So you have 14O, which is a medium foundation with warm undertones and olive undertones. So there are just a couple of shades that mention that. I was looking for a shade in my depth range that would make sense, but so far the best matches I've found are between the 17N and the 20N, which has neutral undertones. And here are the swatches of the foundation. 17N is recommended for medium skin with neutral undertones, and then 20N is meant for medium dark skin with neutral undertones. Again, I'm in between these 2 shades. I don't have a perfect match. If I had to choose, I would go with 20N. It's just slightly deeper and richer than my skin tone, but I can make it work. So we're going to test out this foundation and we're gonna get up close and personal with it. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So let me show you what my skin looks like without foundation. So I'm starting off with clean, freshly washed skin. There is no moisturizer or primer on my skin. I just filled in my eyebrows because I always do. So I'm gonna apply this foundation on completely bare skin just to see how it fares. Since it has those moisturizing properties, I wanna give it a chance to settle into my skin. For reference, I have oily combination skin. I would consider it to be mostly oily, and I do have enlarged pores around my nose and cheek area, as well as a bit in my forehead. I have hyperpigmentation around my mouth and some breakout acne scars that are still like fading away. But overall, I think I have pretty decent skin. I don't go for heavy full coverage foundation because I don't feel like I need it. Just a medium coverage foundation will work to cover my hyperpigmentation and even out my complexion. And I tend to go for more of a matte finish. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes with this luminous foundation. So I am going to swatch both of the shades on my cheeks so you can see what they look like. But I am going to blend both of them together to get a suitable match. But like I said, the shade that I would go for up front would be shade 20N. So here is shade 17N. As you can see, it is very light on my complexion. I can blend it out and it won't look as stark, but it's a very pale beige foundation. It does have more of a neutral undertone, but it wouldn't be my go-to shade. And then here we have 20N, which is a little bit closer, but you'll see that it's slightly richer than my complexion. This one again would be the shade that I would choose because if I blend it out, I can make it work. So we're going to concoct a little mix of both of these shades and apply this foundation. I'll pull out just a bit. So I did 1 full pump of 20N and I'm going to try to do a half a pump of 17N. The pump is pretty controllable, which I appreciate, so you don't have to dispense a full pump if you don't want to. And we'll go in with a new foundation brush and I'm just going to mix the product on my little palette here. Let's go ahead and apply this on this side. It doesn't have a discernible scent, but I still smell something. I think that might be the oils. Oils and foundations, I can always pick up the smell. There is something a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit different. I went ahead and closed my blind so we can get better lighting, but this foundation does have that oil smell. It's something similar to like cooking oil. You know how you can smell olive oil? It's not unpleasant, but I definitely smell the oils in this formulation. So far, it's applying very nicely. It is gliding over my skin. It's not a runny foundation, but it's not overly thick either. And it doesn't feel too emollient considering that it has oils in the formulation. But the oils are further down the ingredient list, so I don't expect it to be too oily. I'm hoping, right? I've already used this foundation a few times, so this is not my first time at the rodeo. And what I've discovered is that you want to go in very lightly and apply the least amount of product as possible and then build up from there. And I find that the 1 pump of foundation and a half is more than sufficient to get the coverage that I'm looking for. And with my oily skin, I wouldn't apply more than 1 layer just to be safe, because child, it can get greasy fast, okay? Now, it's a light medium coverage. It won't give me a solid full medium. So you're going to need to apply concealer if you have any kind of hyperpigmentation or discoloration. Like under my eyes, I will apply some concealer, and also around my mouth. I kind of want to give this foundation a go on its own, but for right now, we're going to apply just a touch of concealer. But I don't know if you can already tell, I am glowy, I am shiny, and I am going nowhere looking like this. Like, it's not very flattering. Let me show you the before and after so you can see what my skin looks like with the foundation versus without. It does give me beautiful coverage. It does even out my skin. I think it makes my skin look pretty. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. Even with the oils, it doesn't feel heavy, but it is definitely a dewier, more luminous finish, which it did say it was a luminous finish, so I can't fault it for that. It said that literally in the description of the foundation, so I can't be mad at that. But this is a glow that I can do without. It wouldn't be my first choice. And the shade match is okay, but like you see, it's not perfect because 20N is just too rich for my complexion. But overall, I like how it initially looks on my skin. It's not bad, but we're gonna go in with some concealer and some tweaking, and we're also going to set with some powder. So let's apply some concealer quickly under my eyes. I'm not going to pull it all the way out, and a little bit around my mouth as well. This is my Kosas Revealer Concealer. It's a really beautiful concealer. I do like it a lot, but I'm not going to apply too much because I want to show you how this foundation wears throughout the day, because we are off the roll doing a wear test. Did I say that funny? Yes, I did. Here's the thing. I can't go outside like this, okay? I need to set this foundation down, and I do need to set under my eyes. So I'm going to go in with my La Prairie loose powder just under my eyes, all right? To set that concealer so it doesn't crease. This has nothing to do with the foundation. This is strictly for the concealer. However, okay, I get very oily, so I am going to lightly go over my skin with my powder brush. This is a kabuki brush that has no additional powder on it, but it's one that I have already used before, so it does have some residue of powder, nothing crazy, and I'm going all over my skin just to absorb some of that moisture, like, you know what I mean? And then I'm going to go in with my Kosas powder, very lightly though, and grab just a bit of it. You won't even see it on the brush because this powder is very lightweight. And this is just going to take down some of the shine, but not disturb this foundation too much. I'm not giving it too much of an advantage. All right, so here you have what the foundation looks like with a light setting of powder. I think it looks beautiful, okay? I feel pretty. My skin does look very healthy and glowy, and you can't see any glitter from afar, right? And even up close, you can't really see the shimmer as much anymore. It's not as pronounced once I powdered everything down. You have to look really closely under like a 10 times magnification mirror to see the very fine shimmer. It's there, but you just can't see it. So my major fear is assuaged, but I'm a little bit nervous still about what this will look like in natural daylight. But like I mentioned, under these studio lights, I look kind of pretty, and you're seeing the up close shots. So my skin does look beautiful. It does look healthy. I don't feel this product on my skin, but as time progresses, we'll see how that goes. But right now, I think it is really beautiful. I think it covers just enough, evens out my complexion, and with a little bit of added concealer, everything is looking great. It hasn't settled into my pores. It's not accentuating my pores, but it definitely didn't blur them much. And overall, I think my skin looks pretty good. So let's check in with the time. It is now 3:20, but I've had this on since about 3 o'clock. So we're gonna call it at 3 o'clock. I'm going to show you what this looks like in natural daylight, and then we're gonna do a wear test. So 3 o'clock check-in, let's run outside, and then we'll check in later to see how it's wearing throughout the day. So here we are in blinding sunlight. Like, what? My skin is looking pretty. It is golden hour and it is given. All right, so my first concern was that I was gonna look very sparkly, but the shimmer is not really sparkly. It's just very dewy, and I think it looks very pretty in natural daylight, if I do say so myself. And this is my front facing iPhone camera, so it's not the most flattering at all. Let's look at the T-zone a bit. What do you think? You see texture, you see my pores, but it's not really awful looking. So I think so far we look great in natural daylight. Let's switch cameras and see what that looks like. So here is my vlogging camera, and again, I think my skin looks pretty nice. I'm gonna say a little bit of the sunlight is causing it to look that great, because you know, golden hour, it will make your skin look that much better. But overall, I do think the foundation looks beautiful in a natural daylight. I think my skin looks amazing. There's no discernible sparkle or shine. It just looks healthy. So let's go ahead and wear the foundation, and we'll do a check-in shortly. All right, guys, so it is 6:17. which is right around that 3-hour mark for this foundation, since we had it on since 3 o'clock, and I have gotten shiny. This is expected. I already foresaw this happening, all right? Foundations don't really hold up well on my skin. I'm just gonna get oily. I know this. So that is why I tend to use a primer that mattifies and also a setting powder to really set everything in place. But this foundation does not look that bad considering that my oils are breaking through. I expected it to look a lot worse because it said that it was radiant. I mean, look how shiny I am. Child, let me tell you. And that is why I say I have oily skin and not oily combination, because everything, okay? I am greasy, I am shiny, but the foundation has not separated. It hasn't split. It's not settling into lines, and it doesn't look that horrendous. I don't look the cutest right now, like for real though. But I don't look as bad as you would expect, given that I'm oily and shiny right now. This is the point in where that I would go ahead and blot my skin down. In fact, I'd probably even blot before this, because the oil started breaking through around the 2-hour mark. And that is my thing. This foundation isn't really lasting very long on my skin. My ideal foundation gets to this point at the 5 or 6 hour mark, not 2.5, 3 hours in, which is when I really started to see the oils breaking through. So would this be a go-to foundation for me? No. But with that being said, it looks very pretty and I can definitely fix and blot this. It's just not the ideal wear time for me, right? 3 hours and I'm already this shiny. It is what it is. Should I continue wearing this foundation? I'm asking you like I haven't already made the decision and filmed. I'm going to blot this down and then keep wearing it for a couple more hours. So here's my check-in. 3 hours in, oily, and I am going to blot. All right, so I grabbed my paper towel to go ahead and blot. What I like about this foundation is that there aren't many claims about it being 16-hour wear and transfer proof and waterproof and all this stuff. It does say it's long wearing, but it doesn't state how long is long wearing for them. So that is completely subjective and I don't know how to feel about that. They claim long wearing, but just how long is up to you, I guess. This is not long wearing for me. This is a very short-term wear foundation on my oily skin. So it definitely doesn't win any points for being long wearing. It's not transfer proof either. And this is what happens when my oils break through. They start breaking down the foundation. So I don't like a foundation that does that. It doesn't say it mattifies or controls shine. It doesn't say any of that. It just says that it's hydrating. Oh my God, look at the oils. Ooh, it has been a while since I saw that much oil, and that can't just be my skin. That has to be the foundation too. But yeah, it doesn't claim to be transfer proof, fade resistant. It doesn't say any of that. It just says that it's hydrating for up to 12 hours. So okay, hydrating. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. It doesn't feel dry. It looks nice. Like, it's not ugly, right? Sometimes when I wear foundations and my oils break through, I feel ugly. Like, I just want to get it off. But this is actually pretty. And even though a lot of it did come off on the paper towel, I feel like it still looks nice. It holds up to a quick refresh, so I don't mind it. We're gonna see just how much more wear we can get out of this. So it is now almost 6:30. I am going to pack some makeup and I will check in later to see how this fares over time. Since we did our blotting, we're gonna see if it's enough to help this foundation last a little bit longer. All right, guys, so I am back and it is time for the final check-in because I am ready to wash my face, but I wanted to give you a pretty positive update. So it is now just after 8:30, so we've had this on for roughly 5.5 hours, and we did a touch-up at 6:30, so we're 2 hours after the touch-up, and I want you guys to look at my skin. Right? It looks so good. Look at, okay, it looks really good considering that I've had this foundation on for over 5 hours, right? And after the 3-hour mark, I was pretty oily, so I did a little blotting, and I think this looks pretty good. The foundation hasn't settled into any lines. My skin still looks pretty great. The foundation also hasn't broken up, so it hasn't separated. Even in like my really oily areas, like my T-zone, look at my forehead, like right here. Nothing is breaking up, nothing has separated or split, right? I just look greasy. Like, I expect to look greasy at this point, but this is all right because I could blot again and get another couple of hours of wear. So I am satisfied with where we are right now, and I will wrap up this video with my final thoughts because I've tested this foundation out different ways with primers, with powders, so I can give you like a full review. This is just the wear test without any bells and whistles. So we didn't use a primer. I didn't really set with powder. I did a light dusting. So this is what you can expect from the foundation by itself. But I will give you my final thoughts right now. All right, so now that you guys have gotten all the details about the foundation, you saw the demonstration and application as well as a full wear test with check-in in natural daylights and also after blotting down the foundation, I am ready to give you guys my final thoughts. So let's start out with the price point. This retails for $42 for the typical 1 fluid ounce or 30 milliliters of product, which I think is a fair price for this brand, considering that it lands in the suite of mid to high-end brands at Sephora. It's a fair price point. Those brands typically range from the high $30 range to even $50+. So I think this is a fair price point. Now, whether or not you're comfortable paying that amount of money for this foundation is completely up to you and your budget. $42 for me is not too steep, but it's also not on the lower end of the price range that I would be comfortable with saying, yeah, it's worth it. It's one of those price points that you're like, is it worth it though? Is it in my budget? So yeah, that's what I think about the price point, but I think it's a fair price based on where, again, the brand lands. As far as the shade range, there are 30 shades available, and I think there's a decent gradient. My matching shade is 20 NN. Even though it's slightly too rich for my complexion, I would still fall at like shade 18, 19, or 20. So there are more shades. There are about 10 shades after the one that best suits me. And I think that's a decent gradient. There aren't like a bunch of light shades included. We have a decent range of light, medium, tan, dark, and deep shades. So I do think the shade range is decent considering there are only 30 shades available. In addition to like having a great gradient of shades to select from, there are varying undertones. So we have cool undertones, warmer undertones, and there's some olive shades tossed in as well as neutral. So I like to see that diversity in a shade range. As far as the packaging goes, it's simple, it's basic, it's like a stripped down aesthetic that lines up with Makeup by Mario and what he stands for. He is a makeup artist by trade, so it fits in with what he considers great packaging for him. It's in a glass bottle, it has a slim profile, so it's easy to tuck within like a makeup travel case. It has a pump which keeps it sanitary, and it's a nice pump that dispenses just about the amount of product that you would need for a full face application. So overall, I like the packaging. I do like the aesthetic of Makeup by Mario, but again, don't expect any frills. It's not a luxury brand at all. But again, it's a foundation bottle. Like, is there much to expect? I like the packaging. As far as purchasing goes, these products are pretty accessible. They're available online through the Makeup by Mario website as well as the Sephora website, and you can also check it out in store at Sephora because it's a foundation. So you want to go ahead and probably get shade matched in store or just swatch it yourself to see if you can find your suitable shade match. That to me is key for a foundation. It's very hard to shop for it and eyeball it online through product pictures. I think the best thing for you to do is to go in store at Sephora. And since Sephora is accessible to most people and they have pretty decent shipping and a great return policy, I think you can't go wrong with purchasing this foundation if you are interested. Now, let's talk about the product and the performance because I know that's what you're here for, all right? Because that's the crux of this review. Here's the thing. I am very torn about this foundation, all right? And I know it's a polarizing foundation. There are people that are raving about it. They're saying, oh my God, it's so awesome. And then there are others that are like, oh my God, this sucks. And for me, I'm tethering in between. I'm like, I don't like this foundation for my skin type. I have oily skin, and this foundation gets oily really quick. It has a radiant finish. There's nothing controlling oil for me. Even though it states that it's long wearing, for me, it's not really long wearing. But then on the other hand, it looks beautiful upon initial application. And that surprised me because the shimmer that you can see, it's discernible in the bottle. That shimmer, I expected it to really enhance texture, emphasize my pores, emphasize like just how many imperfections could be found on my face, but it didn't. And I wasn't glowing and shining like a vampire in the sun at all. So that surprised me as well. but it looked great for just about an hour, and then I looked like a grease ball. So on one hand, I think it can look great on camera. Like, I filmed with it in the first hour, and it looks fantastic, especially when it's set down with powder, so I can get rid of a lot of the shine, because it's shiny, okay? It's glowy. Listen, it's like a mix of a liquid foundation and a liquid illuminator. You know, one of those liquid shimmery primers or highlighters? It looks like you mix that with your foundation and applied it, which I guess is not a bad thing if you already do that or you like the look of that, because you can just get it in one bottle instead of concocting your own little mixture. But for me, with oily skin, it's just like grease, glow, too much. And I even think that wouldn't be the best look on dry skin or normal skin that can kind of get away with more of a glow. I don't think that's flattering on everybody. It still just looks greasy, you know what I mean? But powdered down with a primer and all this stuff, it can look pretty for about 30 minutes to an hour on me. So it's like, I don't know how to really feel about it. Would I recommend it if you have oily skin and you don't like to look like a grease ball? Absolutely not. Would I recommend it if you have normal skin and you don't want to look like a grease ball? No. So it's up to you. Like, what look are you going for? Like, what do you want to look like? If you're interested in looking very glowy, very dewy, like glossy, then for sure, go ahead. I think it wore comfortably. It didn't feel heavy and greasy and like, ugh, on my skin, right? I didn't want to scrape it off at the end of the day, so I'll give it that. And I was able to touch it up as well pretty easily, even though it transferred like crazy, all right? It didn't transfer necessarily throughout where like I wasn't touching my face because I don't normally do that anyway. But when I blotted it down, a lot of it came off on my napkin, right? But I was able to refresh it and powder it down and it looked fine. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily long wearing like they're claiming, but I do think it's easy to refresh, you know? But it wouldn't be a foundation that I gravitate towards personally. If I have to touch up a foundation after an hour of wear, even if I powder and prime and all that good stuff, like really set it down, and it still gets oily within an hour, then it's not a foundation that I would automatically like grab for. I don't care how pretty it looks initially, I'm not gonna deal with that, okay? That's too high maintenance for me, and I'm not a high maintenance kind of person. So that's where it stands, all right? I don't like it for me. I don't recommend it for oily skin or combination skin if you are not willing to look very greasy. And it made me look extra greasy, okay? So it's not like my normal oils popping through and I look glowy and ooh, look at her skin. No. I look like I was frying chicken for 12 hours and I took the grease and splashed a little bit on me for a little razzle dazzle. That's what I looked like, okay? It did not look great, all right? And you can actually see some of that shimmer on your skin if you're looking up close and personal. So I know that's not helping things at all. So the radiance was definitely there and I didn't like it. But I know some people might like that, you know? So taking myself out of the equation, it's up to you. Do you like that look? Is that what you're going for? If you are, I have questions to ask, but I feel like there are other foundations on the market that gives that glow and that radiance without looking greasy. And this one just took it to an extreme. And I question what Mario was thinking with this finish. I don't know, but those are just my 2 cents. I'm sure there are others out there that will tell you that they love it, and you may even love it yourself. I personally didn't love it for long wear, liked it with initial application, but yeah, $42 for a grease film, not my kind of thing. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Have you tried it out? Are you interested in trying it out? What has your experience been? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will also leave a link where you can pick it up in case you wanted to. That will be my affiliate link, which will give me a small kickback if you do make a purchase through my link. I'm just saying, if you're gonna purchase it, hey, at least support me through my links, right? I will also leave links to my Instagram and Twitter where you can follow me along. And you can also leave a super thanks, which is kind of like a tip jar, or join my channel memberships. Just click over to my channel and click join, and that also works as a tip jar. So hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. If you wanted to hear my thoughts about this foundation, there you have it. And until my next video, which will be very soon, I'll talk to you. Bye guys.